learning by yourself and teaching yourself design is the best way to start right now as a graphic designer. Right now we have so much of resources out there, right? YouTube, platforms like Skillshare, we have platforms like Domestika, where you can just get courses for specific subjects. I failed in one subject during my last semester of my college, and I had to wait for the next round of exams, that is 6 months. That's when I started designing, or that's when I created this page, and I just started randomly posting stuff. I really can't, get into the zone of studying biology, physics, and chemistry and all that stuff. It was really hard for me. Brand identity is a combination of visual elements. Burger King did rebranding. They came up with a new identity system. Likewise, Indian brands, we look at Zomato because we keep seeing those ads on YouTube and we keep seeing those ads on our mobile phones and apps as well. They use fun language, they use jokes or memes to connect with audience. Brand identity in a nutshell is a visual identity system that represents your brand. I live in a place that's a tribal area. If people don't know, Chhattisgarh is a very tribal area. It's a very backward society at this point. We lack a lot of amenities, maybe like basic features like having a good internet connection. Being at a tribal state, I can work with international clients all by the power of internet. And I'm doing stuff that I might have never imagined in my life that I can do, right?
हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू वन मोर एपिसोड ऑफ पूजा टॉक शो। और हमेशा की तरह आज का हमारा एपिसोड भी बहुत स्पेशल होने वाला है। और आज हमारे जो स्पेशल गेस्ट हैं वो एक ब्रांड आइडेंटिटी डिज़ाइनर हैं जो कि कंपनीज की ब्रांडिंग करते हैं, आइडेंटिटी डिफाइन करते हैं और भी बहुत कुछ हम उनकी इंडस्ट्री के बारे में जानेंगे। और मुझे नहीं लगता कि आज से पहले ऐसा कोई हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे आया है, तो बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल एक्सपीरियंस रहने वाला है। आपको समझ में आने वाला है द स्टोरी बिहाइंड द लोगो, स्टोरी बिहाइंड द टाइप ऑफ ग्राफी, स्टोरी बिहाइंड द कलर यूज्ड इन द लोगो एंड ऑल द ब्रांडिंग सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग्स। सो कहीं मत जाइए। और अगर ग्राफिक के स्टूडेंट हैं, अगर आप डिज़ाइनर हैं, आप डिज़ाइनिंग में इंटरेस्ट रखते हैं, आप लोगों की कहानी में इंटरेस्ट रखते हैं, आप ब्रांड की कहानी में इंटरेस्ट रखते हैं, सो डेफिनेटली ये एपिसोड आपके लिए है। एंड अगर आप स्टूडेंट हैं तो डेफिनेटली आपके लिए ये एपिसोड है। अगर आपको लगता है कि सिर्फ डिग्री ही आपको कहीं पहुंचा सकती है, तो यू शुड वॉच दिस एपिसोड। हाय ब्लेसन, वेलकम टू शो।
Hey, how are you? I'm good.
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good too. Awesome. So super happy to be here. Thank you for inviting, first of all.
It's our pleasure. And first thing, thank you so much for accepting our invite in that much short notice.
No problem. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm really looking forward.
And it is the happiest moment, I was listening so much about you and I have seen some of your designs and, I never thought in front of you I'll talk like that. But yeah. I got the opportunity. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the kind words.
I think for today's, session, so many people will learn so many things. So, Blesson, so as I have seen, some of your interviews and designing industry is not any formal education. You have not taken any formal education in design industry, right?
Yep.
So just start with your education, your schooling and how you, suddenly you came into the design.
Yeah.
So your childhood days will start.
So just giving a quick, brief introduction for people, those who might not know the story. So I'm just as any other Indian middle class family, any other Indian middle class boy. By the way, I've been born and brought up in the state called Chhattisgarh, which was originally a part of Madhya Pradesh, but then it got divided in 2000. So point is, and my dad is a pastor in church. So, we have been here the whole, I'm born and brought up here. So I haven't really got that exposure to a lot of stuff that, people in cities or metro cities might have had. So my childhood and my schooling, my college has been totally average, just as any other middle class family or any other middle class boy. And I don't have any fancy, education, anything to boast of. I did my graduation in bachelor's in business administration, which is BBA In some places, it's also called I think it's BMA or something like BBM. Sorry, yeah. In some places, it's called BBM. In some places, it's called BBA. So I just hold a graduation bachelor's degree in BBA. That's the only education qualification that I have. Soon after, so yeah, it's a long story. I think a lot of people, those who have joined from my account, probably know this that I failed in one subject during my last semester of my college, and I had to wait for the next round of exams. That is 6 months for the next round of exams to happen. That's when I started, designing, or that's when I created this page, Bless Critics, and I just started randomly posting stuff, and that's how I got started. I'm pretty sure that we will get to talk more about it in the live. So that's a brief introduction. I hope that was enough for people to understand and get a little bit of background.
Yeah, right. So it is very interesting, from management background to designing. It's a really, really different background, both the backgrounds. Yeah. And I think your summer vacation has played a major role, or whatever vacation on that time,
Yeah.
It played a major role to decide your career, actually.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. So to be, to give you more of a background, I took biology in my 11th standard because I wanted to be a doctor, just as any other middle class Indian guy. So I took biology, and one of the reasons why I took biology was to get rid of mathematics, because I was really bad at mathematics. And at that point, I don't know why it just clicked. I was like, biology is a good subject, and I would also like to be a doctor. So it doesn't have maths, so let's just take biology. That's how I took biology. But fun fact, few months in, I just found out that this is not working for me. I really can't, get into the zone of studying biology, physics, and chemistry and all that stuff. It was really hard for me. Anyway, I somehow passed 12th, and then obviously I didn't want to get into MBBS or anything. And the closest that I could go was I found out that there's something called BBA, which is kind of related to a general course that will give you a little bit of, understanding of business and management or something like that. Anyway, I just did it I didn't do it with a purpose. I wasn't looking for something when I was doing BBA. I wasn't like, okay, I'll do BBA and then I'll do MBA, I'll get a job. That was not my idea. I just did BBA because I didn't want to do MBBS. And then commerce wasn't my thing, also because I didn't do commerce. So BBA was like, okay, let's just do it, that sort of thing. So I really didn't have a plan, to be very honest. And that break that we mentioned, when I was waiting for the next round of exams, I think that was the turning point of the whole, career perspective that I have. And that's when my design journey started. And obviously I'm still, in my journey, I'm still learning, still halfway there, I would say. But yeah, I'm very much thankful for what I've got to do over the past 3 or 4 years.
Okay, that's great. So, listen, like so many people don't have idea about brand identity, what actually it is. So I would like to know like what it is and how, you work on that. Actually, what will decide in that brand identity.
Yeah.
And all about that.
Sure. So especially in India, I've been freelancing for the past 4 years, and I found out that not many people in India, and I'm also talking about working professionals, they really can't differ between branding, brand identity, and brand development, or whatever these things are related to brand. People think that this is very similar to each other, but it's actually not. So when we talk about, I'll be talking about brand identity because that's what I specialize in, and I would like to give more info, on brand identity. So brand identity is a combination of visual elements. So, let's say you look at a brand and you look at their logo, you look at their colors, you look at their typography, you look at their, way of representing their brand, you look at their advertisements. They have a very specific set of features that they do. They don't, steer away from that. Let's look at something, a brand like, right now, Burger King did rebranding. I don't know if you have noticed, but they did a rebranding and they came up with a new identity system. Likewise, if we talk about Indian brands, we look at something called Zomato. because we keep seeing those ads on YouTube and we keep seeing those ads on our mobile phones and apps as well. And Zomato has a very, quirky way of presenting themselves. They use fun language. They use, maybe jokes or memes to connect with audience. And that's how they have positioned themselves, their logo, their color palette, their typography. So brand identity in a nutshell is a visual identity system that represents your brand. It's not brand positioning. It's not brand messaging. It's not brand strategy. These are all different aspects of branding. But brand identity, when we talk about brand identity, it's the visual aspect that you look at a brand, let's say logo, as we discussed, typography, color palette, and the way people see your brand through advertisement or through visual media. That's what brand identity in a nutshell is.
Okay. So we can say that like every logo has a story, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Every logo has a story, and I think every color palette and whatever they use for their visual element, everything has a story behind it, and that's what portrays the whole brand in front of the audience.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but means if we talk about Indian, means I don't have idea about very big brands, but like if we talk about startups or like medium enterprises, they won't care that much. Can you tell me about the color, like how much color matters? About like how designers, and as you are a designer, how you decide the color, what color will go? And some of the time client has a particular image in their mind, like the brand should be like that or our logo should be there like that, but that is not a clear image also, like it's not good for their brand, but they have particularly maybe they have seen somewhere or some some other brand. So as a designer, what you will say?
So I know that struggle because we are still halfway there. We're still on the way where Indian brands and Indian startups and small companies and small businesses understand the importance of branding, because nobody's to blame. That's how the culture has been. We focus more on budget. We focus more on cheap things. We focus more on getting more at less. That's how the whole culture has been. So nobody's to blame. But as we globalize and as more international brands, collaborate with Indian brands, it's important in any way as education grows up, people will come to know more about what branding is, what, color theory plays, what role it plays in your brand, what typography, because you might have seen a lot of brands using a very different typography feel as their brand, but they don't really care much about the colors that they're using. They don't really care much about the typography or the type of logo that they're using. The reason behind that is because the consumers were not really bothered about that when they started. Let's talk about 10 years back when small businesses used to come up, and they didn't had branding or they didn't had much knowledge about brand identity or logo design or color palette or typography, anything like that, because the consumer wasn't really bothered about that. Consumer wanted to just get the product and just go home, and they just want to use it. That's not, their thought process. But right now, the whole system is changing. People are getting educated. You and I are in a generation where we are talking about branding. That's a big change, because that's a big change that, people are talking about branding. People are talking about color theory. People are talking about typography. So we have to understand, especially as designers, when we are working with clients, we have to understand where they come from. Like they don't have that much of importance to the fact that we are giving. We are giving much importance to logo design because we know that the impact a logo design or a color or a typography system makes is much more than what they think. But there comes the clash, because we are experts. Like, we as designers know the industry. They just come from a consumer point of view, right? They think that this might not be the right fit, but you have to let them understand why this works, like why color is important, why typography is important. The best way is to give them examples, because when we talk about colors, you did ask about color. I would like to also talk about that. Like, when we look at colors, it means something. Every color has its own feeling or emotion. When we look at red, it's either danger or it's either, love. Like, red is also used for something more, lovable Red is also used on, romantic things. But at the same point, red is also used as a danger color. It's all in the type of proportion that you use that color. Let's say if you're using red, bright red too much, that is not going to give you that subtle feel. It's obviously going to be danger. But if you use red with something like white, if you use it with good typography, if you use it in a right proportion, that is going to give you that feel. So color plays a lot of important role, because if you look at food brands, they use yellow color a lot. Let's look at McDonald's, Burger King, all of these brands, they use yellow color a lot, because color theory mentions that, yellow can somewhere stimulate hunger, can somewhere relate to food. So all of these things, if you Google what color theory is, what color psychology is, you will find out that every color has its own meaning. Every color has its own purpose. You cannot use anything and everything everywhere. Every color has a specific set of understanding. You need to use, you cannot use blue as somewhere like green eco-friendly, because green is mostly used as an eco-friendly color. So all of these things, these are just very vague examples, but I hope I hope people who are listening also get the idea that these things play a very big role. But we as Indians have only started realizing that. And to change the whole perspective, I think it will probably take next 5 to 6 years or 10 years maybe to get everybody understand that these things matter.
Great. So
Yep.
like as a designer, when you are designing the logo, so like it matters like that particular brand, like what are their audience? Is it matters while designing? Like we
Yeah,
need to know like who's
absolutely.
target audience who will be there.
Yeah. So when we do logo design as as a designer, the first thing that we do is give the client a questionnaire, like who are your target audience? Who are you really trying to target? Because obviously a brand is targeting a specific set of people, right? It's not going to cater to everybody and anybody in the world. If they're doing that, that's really crazy, and that's really scary, because you cannot impress everybody and anybody in the world, right? You need to have a specific target audience. And when we send a questionnaire, that always has this topic where we say that who are your target audience and how are you trying to convey yourself? Are you trying to be funny? Are you trying to be sophisticated? Are you trying to be very friendly, or are you trying to be very conservative? When we look at brands, like we can take very simple examples of brands, like let's look at Apple, because I use a lot of Apple products and I know how their branding works. Apple doesn't play a very funny or a very friendly sort of brand. They always stay sophisticated. When you look at their products, when you look at their packaging, when you look at their branding, their advertising, everything has a little bit of classiness to it, a very sophisticated feeling to it. And that's how they do their branding, right? That's how their logo is. And that's how they want their target audience to look at them. So in the same way, every brand has a specific target audience, and everything, let it be not only logo design, I would say everything that is related to your branding, even the type of words that you use should be specific to the target audience that you're working with. So that's a very important aspect when we work with clients, that we work with target audience and we keep them in mind, because that's the end point, right? That's how people are going to interact with you.
Yeah, right, basically. So, Blesson, like so many things, and one thing I want to like, so I have so many students or so many
Mhm.
people who are pursuing the career. So, would like to ask, like, if any students like they want to start their journey as a designer
Mhm.
or graphic designer. So, what you will suggest for them? How, because I don't think so. There is any formal education kind of thing for
Mhm.
designing, right?
Yeah.
So how they can start in this industry if they are really interested in?
Yeah, so in India, as of now, there are very few handful number of colleges that offer graphic design as a degree or education or formal education. But very honestly, because I've had interactions with a lot of students who are studying in these colleges, and a lot of faculty members as well, those who are teaching as a faculty member in these colleges. But all that I've figured out is it's really not worth it at this point. As of now, it's really not worth it to go for a formal education in India when we're talking about graphic designing. I don't know about fashion design and I don't know about industrial design, all of that. I'm talking specifically about graphic design. We don't have many colleges here in India. The best way right now, and I can I can proudly say, and I'm a big witness of this thing, that learning by yourself and teaching yourself design is the best way to start right now as a graphic designer. Doesn't matter if you have the education, doesn't matter if you're if you think that you're not talented enough, doesn't matter if you don't want to go full time but you would like to do part-time freelancing, whatever that looks like. Right now, self teaching yourself graphic design is the best way to do it. Right now we have so much of resources out there, right? YouTube, we have platforms like Skillshare, we have platforms like Domestika, where you can just get courses for specific subjects. That's the best part right now in internet, because everything is right now online and we don't have to even go to someone to learn something, right? Right now you and I are talking and people are listening to us and maybe learning something from that. That's a good way of learning. And everything is online. You can find millions and millions of videos and resources online on YouTube. I have taught myself design through YouTube as well. Like YouTube was my main source of knowledge or main source of teaching that I had when I started out. Then when I started earning a little bit more, I started to invest a little bit more on, platforms like Skillshare or Domestika, or maybe like buy a few here and there, courses here and there that cater to my needs. So I wouldn't suggest getting any formal education in design in India as of now, but teaching yourself self-taught design or freelancing is the way to go as of now if anybody wants to start out.
Great. So Blesson, whatever field you have chosen, it's a non-traditional way of career option. So whenever we are doing anything which is not traditional path, there are so many challenges. This challenge will come from our parents' side. So would like to know, when you have decided, you will work in this industry, then what was the reaction of your parents, your family members, and how, you overcome from that?
Yeah, I think someone asked this question as well in the comments. They were I would read out the question. What was the reaction of your family and other people around you when you chose this industry? And that's the exact question that you have asked. So it's a very tricky place to be, because as I mentioned, nobody is to blame, right? We cannot blame our parents and people around us because they haven't seen anybody doing this. So how can they be sure of things that this will work out for him? Especially our parents. They're very concerned. We know how Indian and Asian parents are. They're very concerned. They're very, very conservative about you. They want you to do good. At the same point, they don't want you to go out and just try new things, because they want you to succeed. And that's their idea of, keeping you safe. But at the same point, sometimes, that keeps you away from doing new things, exploring new things. So when I told my parents, my design choice or my career path as a designer was really accidental. I didn't plan to do it. I just started this page to just, do something productive while I'm at home doing nothing. So I was like, why not just get on Instagram and maybe share some designs here and there. And to my surprise and by God's grace, I would say that, I started getting clients in the course of 6 months or so after I started this page. And I got one inquiry and I told my parents that I've got one inquiry. And so they were like, where is it from? Do you have to go there? And do you have to talk to them? Or what's it like? I just don't know. Everything happens online. I have to do everything online. So they were like, all right. So they thought that it might not be a serious thing. They thought that, I will just do 1 or 2 projects here and there, and then maybe I'll carry on with my studies. But slowly I started getting regular client inquiries, and, I started working more. I started spending more time working and learning about design and things. So at a point, it was my decision. I said that I want to go full time freelancing, and I won't be studying further, and I'll be doing this as my full-time career. So they were like, are you really sure? Because this is We don't know. We are really not sure about it. But I have very supportive parents, and I'm very much thankful and grateful to have them, because they were the only ones who were really standing with me during this time. Because others always, now, even now, they always have this like assumption of what exactly is he doing? Is he just being there and living on his parents' income and things like that? Because nobody's to blame. It's the whole culture, it's the whole mindset thing. But uh, cut story short, I would say that I've had good support from them. Not like it was easy, but few months in, they understood that this is working out, and let's give him a chance and let's see how that goes. And that was a good point of support for me. And as I kept going, things started getting better. I started getting more clients, getting more budget. I was working on higher projects as well. So that's how it went off. I would say it's not easy at all, even for anyone starting out, it's not easy. But if you're really passionate about something, you will take time to make people explain. And when you are passionate, it shows that you are passionate, and they will understand that as well. Don't try to force anything on your parents. If they tell you that, you should study and do it part time, then do that. That's perfectly fine. Like doing part time freelance is also a good option. The best part is that you don't have to go to office, or you don't have to go to a physical place to do that. You can just do that, sitting at your home or sitting into your hostel or college or wherever that is. And once you start getting more clients, you can always tell your parents that see, I'm getting regular clients. And this type of work is also something that is considered as a career choice. And I think, when the right time comes, and when you tell them honestly and when you tell them patiently, it will work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So, and last question I will ask, because
Yeah.
a session is very short. So, what is the dream of Blesson Varghese? Like 5 years, or ultimate dream, we can say that,
Yeah.
ultimate goal of your life.
Yeah. So
What do you want to do?
yeah, so there are many, because I'm just not a designer. I'm also helping my dad, in church and things. So for me, my faith and my belief comes first. That's my priority. And, the dreams that I have always have them in priority. But I'm very much thankful that I get to do this. I get to be a designer. I get to be a freelancer, because all of these things were really dreamy things, when we were young and we figured out that, oh, you can live your full-time life doing freelance work, or sitting at your home and doing things and talking to people overseas, talking to international designers and international clients and all that stuff. That in itself, I think it's a dream that I'm living, because when we were young, when we were in college, we would used to see people or hear about their stories of how they pursued their passion and they got successful. I would say that in itself, that is a dream for me that I'm living. But if we consider, 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, the one thing that I would also like to do is own my own studio, a design studio, which will be, which will have these designers working together as a design team. So that's one thing. The second thing that I really, really want to do is, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people will relate to this as well, to educate designers, upcoming designers, to educate students, like school students, those who are starting out in school. Like, when we talk about students, I'm talking about 8th and 9th standard students, because that's when, you try to really decide what you want to do in life. By that time, you're just fooling around, you're having fun with the friends in school and stuff. But when you come to 8th and 9th standard, you really start thinking a little bit about your future. Like, what should I do? What am I supposed to do? So I really plan to somehow, I don't know how I'm going to do that, but somehow try to educate them. Maybe, host workshops in schools, or maybe host webinars or seminars in schools for students like that, so that I can let them know that there's profession like this, there is an option like this if you're really creative. Because sometimes people are creative, but that dies down because they don't have the motivation to keep going. Like, they might just feel like, I don't know if it will work out or not. But to let them know that this thing works out. And I have been through that journey, and you can definitely choose this path. Obviously, it's not easy, but nothing in life is easy. Like whatever that is, you have to give yourself in. You have to work hard to achieve that. So that's the second thing that I would really, really like to do to educate, especially our Indian students, Indian education system, and young students, that this is also a career path that you can choose. Not only doctor, not just engineer, or not just into corporate jobs. You can also live a life doing things like this as well. So yeah, that's something that I would like to do in the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay, great. And one last question, like
Yep.
so many people says like in India there are not so much opportunities and possibilities. So
Yeah.
like in this like we are living a digital era, living in digital era, and I think there are so many lots of
Yeah.
opportunities. So what do you think? Like India may have so many problems, but in
Mm,
that with due to that problem we have so many solutions also, right? So many
absolutely.
possibilities also. So what do you think so?
I think I don't know. I might, this might sound a little rude to many people, but these are excuses that people give when they say that they don't have opportunities here in India. I live in a place that's a tribal area. If people don't know, Chhattisgarh is a very tribal area. It's a very backward society at this point. We lack a lot of amenities. We lack a lot of features that maybe like basic features like having a good internet connection. That's, people might find it weird that why don't you have a good internet connection? But to be very honest, this is a place that's still being developed. Like it's not at all anywhere close to cities like Delhi or Mumbai or Chennai or Bangalore, stuff like that. And when I, being at a tribal state, I can do things, I can work with clients, I can work with international clients, all by the power of internet, all by the power of teaching yourself. I don't have fancy education. People might, some people might think, oh, he might have had education somewhere and then went there and stayed there. That's not true. I've been here all my life, and I'm still here. I'm still settled here, and I'm doing stuff that I might have never imagined in my life that I can do, right? So I think these are excuses that people give that we don't have opportunities. Because if you find even around yourself, you have so many opportunities that you can make use of. It's just that we need the right eye to look at. If you don't have anything around you, online is the best way. Right now, the whole world is online. The whole world is in the internet. What better time that you can live in? And even the pandemic caused everything, forced everything to come online, right?
Yeah.
We see so many services being online right now. So if you can't make anything out of this opportunity, I don't know what will make you do or what will make you push through this and get what you really want to or achieve what you really want to. So I would say we are living in such a great era. We're living in such a good time, although we are going through this pandemic. But then again, we have solution to the pandemic. It's not like, you can't go out of your house. You have that freedom right now as well. When we think about, older days when stuff like these happen, you literally had to just, be inside your house. Right now, it's not the case. We can go out. There are right now vaccinations are going on. We have solutions. So just as you said, if you think there's a problem, there's definitely a solution right next to you. It's just that we need to find it out and just get going with it.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Blesson, giving your precious time. It was very amazing, to
No
talk to
problem.
you.
Yeah, it was a
And
pleasure
like,
talking.
and I think there are actually, I got to know, I'll tell you one little story.
Yeah.
Actually, my designer, he's just a 14 years old
Hmm.
student, and he's a big fan of yours.
Oh, I
And
see.
he designs my all the designs, and he only introduced me with you.
Oh,
Like
that's great.
he's blindly following you, and like that you said no questionnaires and all.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
he redesigned my logo, he asked me several questions.
That's
Okay, and
great.
I got mad, like what why he's asking that much. Then he said, no, it's like that, like that. Okay.
Yeah,
Then now finally he did like that. So means
that's
then
great.
I came to know about you, like okay, then I started following you, and I
Wow.
came to know and I learned so many things from you. So thank you
Awesome.
so much
No
for
problem.
coming
It
this
was a
platform.
pleasure talking, and thank you very much for inviting. I really hope that, the stuff that we have talked maybe inspires someone or the other, and maybe they learn something or the other and do really what they are passionate about. Thank you once again for inviting. It was a pleasure talking.
थैंक यू सो मच, हैव अ गुड डे, बाय बाय।
ऑलराइट, बाय बाय।
बाय। सो दोस्तों, ये था हमारा आज का एपिसोड एंड आई होप कि आपको आज का हमारा एपिसोड डेफिनेटली बहुत पसंद आया होगा और ब्लेसन की स्टोरी और ब्लेसन से आपने बहुत कुछ सीखा होगा। नाउ आपको 3 चीज़ें करनी है। पहली, अगर आप हमारे चैनल पे नए हैं और आपने हमें सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज़ हिट द सब्सक्राइब बटन एंड सब्सक्राइब अस। आपके सब्सक्राइब हमें बहुत ही इंस्पायर करते हैं एंड ऐसे कंटेंट लाने के लिए हेल्प करते हैं। सेकेंड थिंग इज़ दैट अगर आपको लगता है कि हमारा कंटेंट आपके किसी दोस्त, आपके किसी जानने वाले की हेल्प कर सकता है तो प्लीज़ डू शेयर दिस एपिसोड विद देम। एंड थर्ड, अगर आपके कोई सजेशन है तो कमेंट बॉक्स में हमें ज़रूर बताइए कि आप किस और गेस्ट को देखना चाहते हैं। इसी के साथ हम आपसे विदा लेते हैं और वी विल सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट एपिसोड। तब तक के लिए अपना प्यार बनाए रखिए एंड कीप वॉचिंग पूजा स्टॉक शो।